Right, so should we start with introducing the panel? If you could say your name and some of the films that you've worked on that have been BAFTA nominated, please.
I'm David White, a special prosthetics makeup designer for Guardians of the Galaxy.
And I'm Lizzie Miani Georgiou, and I did the hair and makeup side of Guardians of the Galaxy.
I'm Peter Sauls King, and I'm here this time for Into the Woods.
I'm Maura Gross. I've received a BAFTA in the past for Orlando and The Aviator.
I'm Roy Helland, and I'm here with Peter for Into the Woods.
Hi, I'm Lisa Warner, and I'm here for Mr. Turner.
I'm Jan Sewell. I did the hair and makeup on Theory of Everything. I have a BAFTA from many, many years ago, French and Saunders, and 3 other nominations.
And we've got someone on the floor as well.
Yeah, I'm Christian Mallet, and I'm here for Theory of Everything. I'm the prosthetic makeup supervisor, and this is my first nomination.
So, first of all, let's talk about creating a character. Do you tend to visualise before you meet the actor and actress how you want them to look, or is it conceived when you actually manage to see the person for the first time?
From my point of view, on the particular movie that we were dealing with, some information comes over from the States. It could be a concept design. Other times we design and concept things ourselves. But as soon as it's not always done to the spec, so the actor might not necessarily be there when they've done the concepts. So when the actor does turn up, it kind of changes things, but in a really good way. You kind of really get to grips with all the angles you're dealing with, and that's the fun part of it, because you kind of adapt it to work exactly for yourselves and the artist, making sure it's flattering and it works for them.
I mean, I think that's absolutely right. I mean, you know, the studios will give you concept art. Which is great and it's fine, but it's somewhere to start. Yeah. I mean, you know, some people think, oh, that's where you finish, and it's like, well, no, that's where you start. And then when you meet the actor, actress, whatever, you're then in discussion with the artist, with the director, with a lot of people. I mean, it's collaborative always, because in the end, the actor's got to wear the whatever you're designing. So you can't just be a fait accompli and say, this is how you're going to look by. You know, and they have to have their input, because they have to then feel comfortable in what they're doing. Yeah. So it is. And
also the relevance of when they actually do tests, and they have to be with the other artists, and how the colours work with the other artists and the different looks. Yeah. It all has to be complementary and not clashing. So there's a lot of different factors that kind of come across.
I think it also depends on whether a film is period, or whether it's fantasy, or whether it's a biopic, where your creative process starts from. You know,
and also
where you
script-led as well.
Yes, exactly.
Yeah, well, you read your script and you mark it out, and as you say, if it's period, then you start doing your referencing. That's right. And so it comes from all directions.
It's always. It's never just the one thing. It's always everything, and everyone has ideas, and everyone. You know, they're too penitent in that sense.
In theory, I had to make Eddie look as similar to Stephen Hawking. So then that's your other, you know, if you've actually got to get pictures and you've got to look at the person's face and you've got to decide what you've got to do to just put those little elements in, because you don't want it to be sketch show looky likey. You want it to. It's just the essence and the elements that make it that person.
I mean, I think it's like that when you are doing biopics and it's about someone who's still alive, or they're dead. It's that thing of where you want to go, and it's the decisions have to be made. Like, do we really want to try and make him look as much like the person?
Very well known.
Or are we going to go for the essence of the character, and we're not going to worry so much, which I always personally think that's a much better way to go, because you know, otherwise it does get all very prosthetic heavy and too much.
It distracts from the story, doesn't it?
Yeah.
It distracts from the actual what they're trying to get across, and then it takes you out of the story, and then
exactly.
It has all different aspects of what it can do. You know?
Is that director-led? I mean, would you kind of have to say, actually, this might work better if it is more about the essence of them rather than trying to make them look exact?
Well, I think you offer up everything, and then they choose. You offer whatever you can, and then they decide what they like and they don't like, isn't it? I mean, ultimately.
Yeah, I remember when The Aviator, Martin Scorsese specifically said, "Oh, I don't want it to be lookalikes," and there were so many famous people in it. He said, "But I do." It was exactly that thing: capture the essence of the person, and you know. Obviously, as closely as you can, but no prosthetics, nothing that is going to get in the way of.
Yeah. With Timothy Spall for Mr. Turner, obviously that's a very key look. So, you know, just talk us through the process from beginning to end, really, with him.
Chrissy, who's the hair and makeup designer, she usually does surgeries with them. With Mike, she's very involved from the beginning with Mike's films. Obviously, there are no studios. I mean, it just is very much a collaboration. But with Mr. Turner, it was obviously we had, you know, just paintings and a general idea of what he would look like, and then there was just a general decay throughout the film. So there are 3 different stages. The first stage of him kind of quite young, the middle stage of his kind of like decline, and the house also, you know, the house starts decaying, and Hannah the housemaid starts decaying, and her skin condition gradually gets worse and worse. But I mean, it's very much a collaboration with the actors, because they obviously start rehearsing many months, up to 6 months before we've even started. So, I mean, the great thing, we've you know, it's a very low budget film, but all of the actors were so brilliant. All of the other artists that are in the film, they'd actually started growing their hair since when they were cast in January. So by the time April came round, we had these fantastic beards to work with, and you know, fantastic hair, and we didn't need to make any facial. They were all very much they were all very much into their characters. So
that doesn't
I mean,
happen, though, does it?
that is it's you know. You know, that's how. No, absolutely never happens.
Once he's taken his artists on, from what I've heard from Chrissy, once he's taken these artists on, they're on board. But a lot of the time, when you're doing other films and low budget films, they're doing another. So when you kind of say, "Oh, can you leave your eyebrows to grow out?" Because they won't. Well, I can't. So a lot of the time, you're ending up even painting in little eyebrows, or actually sticking them on to actually make them look like that period. Because you know, there's all these wonderful shaped eyebrows now that everyone is having sort of threaded and everything, and then you're doing a lovely Edwardian number or whatever, and it's not going to work. So you end up even having to paint in, or you know, apply little tiny hairs to. This has happened
on the film I'm prepping now.
So
it's crazy. It's 18th century. I'm on the Gold Coast in Australia, and all the women. Perfect, fantastic, thin, you know, beautiful, thin painted eyebrows. And it's like we've had to do quite a few workshops and actually saying, you know, because there's so many women, you know, when we start there's about 300 women. And it's like nearly every single woman has really, really thinly plucked eyebrows. Yeah. It seems to be a big disease over there. And it's like we're having to do workshops to work out how we can do it quickly and get rid of them all, because it looks crazy.
Because it doesn't look right.
No, it looks awful.
It really gives it away.
No, it really does. And you know, it's the same with, you know, everyone's got lovely white teeth now.
I know.
So, you know, you have to knock it all, you know.
Knock it all back, don't you?
Pardon?
You get Chris Lyons in from Fangs FX and give them all those little, you know.
Well, no, I'm doing all the extras, everything. So I've made all my own tooth enamels.
Oh, wow.
So we can just knock them back ever so slightly.
Roy, can you talk us through Meryl Streep's transformation in Into the Woods? That process.
Well, it starts with she and I months before we get the script, and we talk about where we're going to go, what we're going to do, and what we're not going to do, because we don't want to repeat anything, which is getting more and more complicated. But she wanted to make sure that she looked like herself, and she was definite that she was going to take advantage for the first time in her life of her crooked nose. So there's nothing, that's her. And then she just said, let's do a forehead piece and a chin. And we got a hold of Matthew Smith, and he sculpted and put on these fabulous pieces, which took out her eyebrows and the long hands, which we tried a bunch of things and realized that Meryl was either going to kill herself or everybody on the set with them. So they're silicone. Right, okay. So that, and then how to keep them on. So they became extensions, because just because, you know, you think this is wonderful, then when you're really doing it and you're acting, these things.
How many times did a flying finger ruin a take then? Did you kind of, or did you iron all that out beforehand?
The cast had because then there was the transformation. And so then I had these beautiful blue nails, which exactly matched the dress, thanks to Peter's kit. He just pulled it out. And I did about 10 or 12 sets. I would sit at night and file them and do and paint them and so forth and so on. Anyway, the cast would see at the end of the day who could collect the most nails, because they were flying all over the set, in the woods, in the thing, on the cow, in everybody's dresses, and then they'd tally up who won the day.
That's nice. I think that's all we've got time for now. Thank you to all our panellists. That was fantastic. Thank you.